Hello and welcome to my city report of Las Vegas, Nevada. My name is Dwayne Walker. My first job was as a tour guide, and that was at Wayne Newton's Casa de Shenandoah. And then after that I went to work at Big Bus, where I gave tours up and down the Las Vegas Strip as well as Fremont Street in downtown Las Vegas. And today I do work booking reservations at an adventure tour company. And let's take our first stop when you first get off at McCarran Airport. And of course, the first thing you're going to notice are the casinos in the lobby, the slot machines just begging for your money. And of course, you walk on by them because, you know, nobody ever wins big at airplane slot machines. The first thing you probably see when you come to Las Vegas is the "Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas" sign. Today it's a tourist attraction where people pull up their cars and get out and go take pictures of themselves next to Elvis or Showgirl. But at one time this was there by itself in the island, and people would park and try to cross the street to take their picture at the sign. And there were some traffic accidents that ensued and some unfortunate near fatalities, so they decided to block off the whole thing and actually give it a parking lot and put some emphasis on safety there, and now it's become its own tourist stop. When Betty Willis was asked to design the Las Vegas sign, she didn't ask for any royalties from it, so anyone can use the Las Vegas sign on any of their souvenirs, cups, t-shirts, whatever. That was her gift to the city. And there were Vegas signs, one of course as you're driving in from California, and then there was one right across from where the Stratosphere is that was run over by a car. And of course it was there pretty much dormant without a sign, and now there's a brand new sign but in a different design. It's an arch that says "Welcome to Vegas." But that does not mean that the famous "Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas" sign designed by Betty Willis is the only one left to welcome visitors. Over on Boulder Highway, Betty's sign welcomes visitors from Boulder Dam, otherwise known as Hoover Dam, the major industrialization project responsible for bringing hundreds of thousands of people to live in the city that became the wonder that it is today. And right across it, of course, is the Harley-Davidson store, which is where you would get on the big bus to start your ride down Las Vegas Boulevard. And the first thing you'd see is a huge pink elephant. A pink elephant in front of the Diamond Inn. Now this pink elephant used to belong to a hotel in Florida, but the owners fell in love with it and bought it and brought it over to Las Vegas and put it in front of their motel. And at the time, this elephant had a motorized voice that enabled it to make loud elephant noises at any passing car. And cars would have accidents. And so they had to get rid of the voice inside the elephant. And while the elephant doesn't roar anymore, it does make for a distinctive photo opportunity on the way to Vegas. And to your left, you see Mandalay Bay and the Luxor. The Luxor opened on October the 15th, 1993. And when the Luxor opened, you got to travel down the River Nile. Yes, you did. And I got to see it when it opened. The longer the Luxor stayed open and the longer the River Nile ran, the more the foundation got a little shaky and the Luxor began to sink. And so they had to get rid of the Nile River. However, one thing that they didn't get rid of is the sky lamp that's on top of the Luxor. This sky beam is almost like the Stratosphere. No matter where you are in Las Vegas, you're going to see it if you happen to be out at nighttime. Pilots have reported that this has been visible from more than 275 miles away at a cruising altitude, such as over Los Angeles. As we continue down Las Vegas Boulevard, to our right we pass Tropicana, the Tropicana Resort, which is where James Bond stayed in Diamonds Are Forever. And right across it, the MGM Grand, known for the color green. You notice the buildings are green, and you wonder why that is. You want to think it's the color of money? Think again. Think green, like green as the Emerald City in The Wizard of Oz. And this is because of, MGM, Turner, MGM, and of course, Ted Turner had a great love for all MGM movies and The Wizard of Oz. And so it had an MGM theme, and they actually had the characters or actors dressed as the characters from The Wizard of Oz to welcome visitors to the MGM Grand. And then in front of it is a lion that they had to go under. Well, they didn't account for superstition because there were some people from Asian countries who had their beliefs that if they were to walk underneath this lion, that it would be bad luck for them. And so they rearranged it and they changed it a bit, and now you cannot walk under the lion anymore. Outside the MGM Grand, you'll see street performers doing their acts as well as taking pictures with the public. And to our left, we'll pass Mirage, which was opened and designed by Steve Wynn, a Vegas resort developer and casino owner and art collector, and a man who practically defined the casino experience in Las Vegas and beyond. He bought a stake in 1973 in the Golden Nugget and became the largest shareholder at the Golden Nugget, as well as the youngest casino owner in the world. Eventually, he branched out of the downtown casinos to make these resort experiences like Bellagio, the Wynn, Encore, Monte Carlo, and of course there was Caesar's Palace, which was built by Jay Sarno, a man behind a number of Vegas properties also, like Circus Circus. And at each of these places, you can find its own interesting exhibits or entertainment, like Steve Wynn's statue of Popeye, worth $28 million. $28 million for this glass statue of Popeye, which can be seen at the Wynn Encore. Visit Caesar's Palace at the Forum Shops and see these colossal statues, impressive concerts, star entertainment, and Roman architecture and statues and opulent waterfalls which make you think you're on the Appian Way. Eventually we come to Circus Circus, where you can see live circus acts, and right across the street is the Sahara, where the Beatles were slated to perform way back in the 60s. But because of the insane public interest in the Beatles, they had to be moved to the Sands Convention Center. And you can see the Stratosphere, the largest standing building in the world, bigger than the Eiffel Tower, bigger than the Seattle Eye Needle. The brainchild of Bob Stupak. This once was known as Vegas World, today known as the Stratosphere, but it has since been rebranded as the Strat. We're coming closer and closer into Main Street. And here at Main Street, this is the art capital of Las Vegas. This is the nerve. This is the one place in Las Vegas where you can imagine artists and creators hanging back, drinking beer, listening to nighttime entertainment filled with original acts. Here you see pawn shops and antique stores selling all things that are vintage Las Vegas. And it is home to the Majestic Theater, a place for community theater in Las Vegas. And then further up we come to the Plaza Hotel, the gateway to Fremont Street, where you can soar above the acts and take your pictures with Chippendale dancers and showgirls and watch acts on the street. You'll also see the Hotel Fremont, where Wayne Newton got his start. Back when Wayne Newton was growing up in Roanoke, Virginia, he had a serious asthma problem which resulted in him needing to be brought up in desert climates. After the family visited Arizona and he grew up. He had his premiere on the Ed Sullivan Show when Ed Sullivan discovered he and his brother singing in an Arizona supper club. He then was able to get work at the Hotel Fremont in Las Vegas. However, he was not old enough to hang out in the casino, so he had to hang out in the local ice cream shop. As he became more and more popular and appeared on shows like Jack Benny's and Lucille Ball and Ed Sullivan, he became bigger and bigger, literally, financially. And Steve Reeves, the man who played Hercules, showed him how to build a weight room, to which began an interest in physical fitness. And there in Henderson, Nevada, he started buying up houses that were around him, and he didn't make people leave their home. He said, stay there, but when you die, your property reverts to me. In time, he had enough money to build his estate, his dream home, Casa de Shenandoah. I often describe Las Vegas as being more Hollywood than Hollywood. Vegas is also a combination of many areas of the United States, and it also has a strong international beat. If you go a little bit further, you can go find Chinatown. Then venturing further out from Vegas, you can find some other interesting places that have its own unique contribution. If you go further out of Vegas, you'll see the Gilcrease Nature Sanctuary, Gilcrease Orchards, where you and your families can go up and down the orchards and gather your carrots, tomatoes, and hey, maybe you can go back to your Airbnbs or your hotels, suites, and cook up a nice fresh batch of farm-produced product right there in Vegas. Go further down to Floyd Land Park. That used to be a divorce camp. That was where if you wanted to get a divorce back, say, in the 40s or the 50s, but you just could not get a no-fault divorce anywhere unless you tried to prove adultery or some kind of an overblown charge, or worse, you know, you had to be away. You had to move away for a while to show that you have been separated. And Nevada helped. Nevada came to the rescue of early divorcees in the United States. You could go stay at these divorce camps for a certain amount of time, and then you could get one of the first legal divorces in the United States, here in Nevada. A place first known for its quickie divorces and quickie marriage. Today, that divorce camp is Floyd Land Park, a place known for vast acres of nice greenery to have picnics on, and plus its own menagerie of animals, from llamas to chickens to rabbits, you name it. And then on the vistas is Mount Charleston and the Valley of Fire, a place known for its intriguing orange rock formations and petroglyphs, and science fiction movies like Star Trek Generations were shot there. This is where Captain Kirk died in Star Trek Generations, at the Valley of Fire. And you can take dune buggy rides through the Valley of Fire. There is a tour company, Sun Buggy, which does the only dune buggy rides in Las Vegas, up and down the Valley of Fire. And there are also majestic mountainscapes as well that remind you of the days when America was an untouched paradise. Las Vegas at one time was seafront property, and you can see this when you visit the Las Vegas Wetlands Park, where you can see models that show how at one time the ocean was around this area, and then volcanoes erupted and produced the place we know today as Las Vegas. Yes, dinosaurs once walked through what was now known as Las Vegas, but today the only volcanoes here are at the Mirage. So plan your visits, make your reservations, study your YouTubes, and come on out to Las Vegas. And by the way, Las Vegas has a new slogan. Remember how our slogan used to be, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? Our new slogan is, what happens here only happens here. So come to Vegas and watch what happens.